Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. It's Monday, June 4th, and I have kind of lost track of what day I am on this challenge with myself, so I'm just going to keep going. It doesn't matter, I guess. So this morning is Daily Practice Monday, and on these Daily Practice Mondays, I will be talking about a personal story, maybe something else that maybe has happened to me during the week or whatever, or the last week. And it will be making a point about the things that I've realized about life, love, and relationships. Okay, so this morning I have a story, and it's called Missing the Point. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to read it to you. I've always been a driven human being. The best at the spelling bee. I would spend hours as a child reading dictionaries and encyclopedias. And does anybody even know what those are anymore? I don't know. When I was a kid, you would usually find my nose in a book, and it didn't really matter what it was. Time magazine to Chaucer to Freud, I read it all. I took care of others ahead of myself. I was in leadership classes and spent time tutoring others. I could also cook well, and I had several friends who would stop by on a regular basis for particular dishes. When my mother was in a major car accident when I was 13, it was me that had to step in and run the house. Cooking, cleaning, getting a neighbor to take me to the store, where I did the shopping and wrote a check on my own with my mother's checkbook, and her permission, of course. 3 short years later, at 16, I birthed my oldest son, and he was the love of my young life. Despite being 16, I swung into being his mother, and a good mother, even before he was born. I was reading every child development book I could find, and made myself my own book to help myself take care of him after he was born. I quickly got my GED and headed off to cosmetology school to try to learn a trade to support us. After that, I went back to community college and then a 4-year university, all the while holding down 2 jobs and still taking care of him. So what is the point here? The point is that this is how I spent my life. The whole thing so far. Me giving all of my energy, my love, my time to everyone. And I did so willingly, as I still do. However, all those years I did not put anything back into myself. But then I moved on without another thought. In 2003, I went back to school and pounded the keys on the computer until my fingers got blisters. I raised my kids. I studied hard. I got a better job and then a better job. And then my first great job. And things were going well. Then I started graduate school. And during the time that I was earning my master's degree, I got divorced. I went through a house fire. I had several other significant relationships start and end. And I moved about 8 times. I took another job up the monetary ladder, and then another. But with the ever-improving career jumps came consequences. I didn't heed the consequences and barreled on, taking care of those kids, making the money, handling everything, and don't stop going to school. I was getting tired. I was spreading myself too thin. Then 2 years ago, I ended up in a place within myself where I had to go on FMLA leave from work because I was so distressed and so depleted of spiritual energy. I had sunk into a major depression, and I was becoming a danger to myself. I had finally ignored myself so long that I was on the verge of wrecking everything and losing everything that I had worked so many years and so very hard for. I was fortunate enough, however, to go on a vacation to Disney World that summer while I was on FMLA. I did not want to go to Disney World. I thought it was hooey. But my then partner did, and so I did what I always did, and I put what she wanted before what I wanted and needed. There was some stress, of course. Traveling always is stressful. But I did have a good time at Disney World. It wasn't the restful trip that I needed. It was hot and I'm fat. I was being dragged around Disney World, riding so many rides I could not tell you everything I rode on. I'm surprised I didn't end up in the hospital with heat stroke, though. Thank God for ice, which I kept in a handkerchief around my neck at all times. Near the end of one of the days, I went on a ride that changed everything for me. I could not tell you which one it was, but I do remember that I was seated in this contraption that suspended from the ceiling. It was dark inside the building, which was a relief after being beaten all day in the Floridian humidity and bright sunlight. Now, don't get me wrong, I loved the heat, but when I had to walk around in it all day, by the time I got to this ride, I was done. We got up in it, and into the ride I went. It was sparkly and magical down below me, with twinkly starlights, singing flowers, bright neon colors. I was transfixed by the atmosphere, and I found myself 5 years old again as I watched the show spilling out below me in every direction. The ride twisted and turned around so that riders could see the magic from all angles. All of a sudden, it hit me really hard, and tears streamed down my face. They were just there, and I could do nothing to stop them from pouring down my cheeks. Intense sadness filled me as I realized that I had squandered my whole life. I felt at that moment, I had at least. I felt that I had missed the whole point of my life. I had missed everything. So many years of working so hard, of never taking a breath, of never giving of giving everything inside that I had, and not doing a damn thing to even try to practice self-care and fill myself up or recharge myself. I had allowed my life essence to be drained from me, and I had traded my very soul. For what? I did not, and I do not regret pouring myself into my children, but that I had not taken care of my own inner needs. I was lost and empty. I was in yet another awful relationship, but I had not taken care of myself. It was so much more than awful. A relationship plus a decade of high-stress work and no replenishment had just about broken me. Why had I not invested in my spirit while I was investing in my mind? Why had I allowed my alleged partner to treat me the way that I had? Why had I ignored my needs for wonder, fantasy, and joy? I realized that after all these years of sacrifice, I didn't even know who I was or why I had been sacrificing. As sad as I was in that moment, I also made a connection for myself. I came out the other side of that ride a completely changed person. I knew I needed to make some significant changes in my life to let in more joy, more life into my life. I had become so sidetracked trying to make a life. I had missed the point of what life was supposed to be. A beautiful gift to enjoy while my spirit learns its lessons. I had certainly learned a lot of lessons, but I had missed the most important one. Weekly practice for this Monday is to do something each day this week that supports me finding my joy and feeds my spirit. And that is the end of my story for today, and I have to get on to work. But I will see you tomorrow morning for Think About It Tuesday. Bye-bye.